Throughout the history of the universe, and by universe I mean video games, there have been games so bad that they have caused many to tremble in fear. Whether it be old games like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or new games like Sonic 06, or even E.T., the game is so bad that it almost destroyed all of video games. These games continue to haunt our nightmares, or at least fill up spaces on our countdowns. One such game was known as Shaq Fu, a fighting game starring basketball player Shaquille O'Neal, and widely considered to be the worst fighting game ever. It was so bad that a website was founded, dedicated to finding and destroying every single copy of the game. Years later, for some reason, it was announced that a sequel to the game will be made. And am I the only one who thinks there's a chance that it'll be good? Okay, I don't think it's gonna be a masterpiece or anything, but there's a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that this game might turn out good. Okay, the first thing's pretty obvious, but also really important. The developers acknowledged that the original Shaq Fu was not a good game. Whether it be the tagline being, "This time we won't foo it up," or Shaq telling you to completely forget about the first game.
So all the listeners, not gonna be like that last Shaq Fu. Forget that out your head. Open your head up, take it out and throw it away. This new one, top of the line.
Or just in general, making jokes about how terrible the first game was. Okay, so acknowledging a bad game was bad is pretty easy. Are there any other indicators that the game might be good? Well, an all-star team of developers wouldn't hurt. None of the developers themselves are well-known, but they've worked on some pretty well-known games such as Halo, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, or the old Duke Nukem games. Now, that doesn't guarantee that the game will be good, but it lets us know that the developers for this game probably know what they're doing, as opposed to the original Shaq Fu where they probably did not know what they were doing. One point that some people might bring up is, why is this game even being made? Shaquille O'Neal isn't even relevant anymore, and at least to me, that's one of the biggest pieces of evidence that this game might actually be good. I mean, keep in mind, back in the 90s, Shaquille O'Neal was pretty much everywhere, so making a cheap video game to cash in on his popularity would just make sense. Making a game nowadays, really the only purpose of it would be to remedy how bad the original game was. So obviously they would put in effort then. Besides, Shaq pretty much said it himself.
You know, for me it's all about legacy, and I don't want the old Shaq Fu game where I'm fighting a couple guys in France with a little stupid front kick.
But all that was from the initial trailer. A new trailer's been released shortly after the Kickstarter was completed. And from this trailer, the game actually looks pretty good. The trailer itself actually plays jokes at how ridiculous the concept is, which I think is the best way to go about it, because I mean, who's really going to take a game starring Shaquille O'Neal as himself all that seriously? The only other game series I know of that guest stars celebrities as themselves is the Saints Row series. And we all know how well Saints Row and seriousness mix. I mean, the villains in this trailer look so over the top that you'd think they'd be from Super KO Boxing 2. And the gameplay footage from the trailer, while not a whole lot, makes the game look like a really fun, over-the-top beat-em-up. I am Defoffilizer, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda looking forward to Shaq Fu Legend Reborn. I mean, I think it's obvious that it's not at the top of my list, but it does look like it'll be pretty fun, and if it comes out on a platformer that I own, I will be reviewing it for you guys.